Good morning, everybody. Coach Wilson, of course. I just wanted to call, or actually make another plant video. I wanted to share with you some precautions before we get started. Number one, make sure that you keep your hands away from your eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. If you're dealing with anything sharp, please make sure your parents are aware of what you're doing and make sure that they know that you're doing those things. Don't be secretive, okay? All right, so today we are going to plant some of my plants that I planted about 2 weeks ago, and they're growing. We're going to place them in here. The peas we're going to have to put somewhere else because they don't need all this light, and the heat actually hinders them. So we're going to keep those out of here. However, we are going to be planting these today in this garden. Now, if you notice, I have a grape vine growing, and it's very young. This is what's called a 2-year stem. And what it means is that the stem has just grown to 2 years old before they sold it. So it's thriving. It's doing really well. If you can tell, it has new leaves right there. So we are going to leave it alone and let it grow. And anyways, we're going to go ahead and start planting these. So you must prepare an area for the plants before you plant them. And you have to make sure they also have really good fertilizer and whatnot. I'm going to set you up. Let me see. Hopefully it'll behave itself. Don't move. Okay, there we go. All right, here I am again. I'm going to move these pea plants away because I want to put them somewhere else. So I'm going to set these down right here. Now, when you have already established plant, now if you notice I put 2 in here but only 1 grew, and that's okay because sometimes that happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a small little hole. I'm going to go ahead and set you up right here. I'm going to dig a small little hole for it. Now these plants, it's not that they necessarily need a lot of sun, but it's also important that you have good soil. Now if you notice it's wet, I actually watered my grass last night, so this gets a little bit wet. Now I'm going to basically go around this plant. I'm not trying to disturb the roots. What I want to do is put it into that hole. Unfortunately, I need 2 hands, so I'm going to have to put you up. Let's see here. I'm going to see if this will work. You all see me okay? Ah! Well, I hit my mom's or my wife's Mother's Day gift. Okay, so I have to get my hands a little dirty. Now if you notice, I'm picking up the soil as well, and I'm going to place it nicely, gently inside the hole, and then I'm going to cover it up. What I don't want to do is to disturb the roots. If I disturb the roots by putting them out in this air, it dries them out and kills the root, and you don't want that to happen. So that's why I keep it in the soil. And if you notice, I just pack it in a little bit, so when it's time to grow, it'll grow bigger. And I left some of this fertilizer in there so that it's used to that fertilizer, and when it gets out to this dirt that's wet, it'll actually give it the minerals it needs. Okay, now that one's done. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm actually not done with this. What I'm going to do is grow some more seeds. I'm going to put more fertilizer in here and keep going because it's actually still good to use. All right. Now, I'm not sure what this one is, this plant, But I know that these two, I believe wholeheartedly, they're cantaloupe. So cantaloupe needs a lot of room because it is a vine and it grows low to the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant it right over here, and there's a nice little spot over here, but I'm going to plant this one first over here. Here we go. And notice I use a spoon. Oops, I'm sorry, my little flap keeps flapping around. Alright, so I use a metal spoon. It happens to be so much nicer than anything I ever used. Alright, so here we go. I'm gonna dig a little hole. And after I'm done here, I'm actually going to water it a little bit so that it knows that I still love them. Alright, here we go. Alright, I'm going to take the middle one out first. I remember actually planting 3 of these in here. And if you notice, only 2 of them grew. Which, like I said, sometimes some seeds will do well and some won't. And you have to be prepared for that. And that happens a lot. So don't be afraid if your seeds don't come out. You just keep going. Because you don't see a farmer quitting on the first try. They keep trying until they get their crop. Alright, here we go. Here's the little one. Put that there. Alright. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a little area so that the water goes down straight instead of all over the place. So I'm patting it down, making sure it'll do well from this point forward. Okay, there we go. And I made a little depression there, a little area so that it can grow. Alright, now I have to switch to the other side. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but there you go. I took it out of there, and now I have it right. Okay, so there's my little plant. Now I'm going to switch to the other side. And then I'm going to plant it in this area over here. Alright, so what I need to do, maybe this would be better. Wonder if you can see it better. A little bit better. I'll try to share it with you guys in just a minute. I'm going to swing around to the other side so you can see me. All right, here we go. Now we're going to start with this one. And what I'm going to do, again, dig out another little hole. Not too big. I don't know why I'm doing it so big, but all right. And this one's a little bit bigger, so this one's going to spread out like crazy. All right. Now, set you right there. I don't know why my phone is doing the things it's doing. It's driving me crazy today. Alright, so here I go. I'm going to take out the big one here. Now, normally, plant does not grow outside its leaves or branches. I'm talking about the roots. So here we go. So you can, when you take out a plant, just make sure you take out the whole thing and not just part of it, because if you break the wrong root, you can lose the whole plant. All right. And now I'm gonna firmly push it in there. Make sure it's done in there right. I don't want to lose that soil, so I'm going to make it a little pond area for it, so when I water it, it just waters the area, not the whole area. There we go. And I like the spoon because you're able to maneuver it with your hand. And it's easy to do. There we go. Alright, so there I go. Now, it's time to get water in there. Oh dear. Alright, so I got all 3 in. If you see, 1, got 2 over there, and 3. Now it's time to water. And so I'm going to get my little bucket and I'm going to gently water this area. Well, if you notice this white PCV, I'm trying to do a irrigation system. Hopefully it works. I'm not sure if it will, but I'm trying something new. This one's going to be above ground. And the other experiment that I have is that this side is actually underground. So I'm trying to do both. Where is my water can? Ah, there is my water can. There we go. Got my water. All right. Just water it gently. Just let it soak right in that area. So you see how the water is just watering that one area. And last but not least, and in a couple of weeks, we'll see how it goes. Now, I planted these as a seed in here. They're doing pretty good. And there's my carrots. Uh-oh, I've got a weed in there. I'm gonna get them out. Sorry. Time for you to go. And then there's my tomatoes. And if you look at my tomatoes, they're really growing crazy right now. Although I had this little fly that keeps flying into these leaves and taking the fluid out of there, out of the leaves. And so that's why they look a little dry, but they're not really dry. And this is my spinach. Okay, so I did one of these the other day, and if you notice, I got a big old chili pepper coming out. Yoo-hoo! Well, I keep working on this strawberry, so I'm hoping it comes through, but it looks kind of sick right now, so I'm crossing my fingers right now. But if you look at my tomato plant, it's growing really well. It's really healthy. It has a lot of fluid in there, so it's going to go good. All right, guys. Well, that's my garden. If you guys need anything, please give me a holler. You know who I am. Coach Wilson. I work at Vista del Futuro Elementary in El Paso, Texas. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you around.